Hi guys, it's Paul from the Forge development team. In the workshop today we've got the new Suzuki Swift 1400 Turbo, and we're going to show you how to install our new valve. Before fitting the valve, they do come with instructions, but if they're not in the box, they're also on our website. And it'd be worth thoroughly reading this before installation. Right, first port of call is to locate the valve. So the valve is actually situated to the left of the actuator, right in front of you. It's bolted to the intake elbow of the turbo. First job we need to do is actually unattach the vacuum hose at the top of the valve, which is held on with a spring clip. So use your long nose pliers, okay, and literally just press it down to remove the hose clamp. And then the vacuum, they are on quite tight, but they will just wriggle off like so. Second step now will be to remove the 10mm nut holding the valve to the turbo elbow. So for that we are going to need a 10mm socket. I would suggest use the extension bar as well. On your ratchet, and just anti-clockwise and just unscrew it. They're not on overly tight. Nice and straightforward job to do. Our third step is going to be taking the valve out completely, removing it completely from the car. And in order to do this, we're going to need to get at this hose clamp holding the rubber pipe attached to the DV valve, the OE valve. Now you can use long nose pliers, but it is a bit of a struggle. However, I suggest using a proper hose clamp removal tool. It just makes it such an easier job. The hose clamp is at the bottom of this hose here, so if you follow it down you will see your spring loaded clamp, which is just there. Now it is a bit of a struggle, but you can get your hose clamp tool in there. There we do. Just compress it, slide the hose up like so, and with the clamp removed, the whole pipe will pop out. And there you go, one removed DV. Okay, so important job, very important job on this installation is to remove the original O-ring off the OE valve here. It's a simple job to do. Do not use sharp blade or screwdrivers to get it off. You can do it with your fingers because they are quite fragile and you'll break it. So all you need to do is just pinch it up and roll it over and off it pops. Now with this, it can be now fitted to the Forge blanking plug. Real nice bit of kit, milled here at Forge Motorsport. Now this just slides over into the groove. Once that's done, you're now ready to fit the blanking plug. Okay, there's a recess and hole in here. That's where the new alley cap screw provided with the kit needs to go in there. Now there are two. You have a 20mm and a 12mm. For this job you need the longer of the two, the 20mm. So just locate the plug in place where the valve used to live. Move it into position so you can see the thread through the hole of the plug, and just with your hands you can just start screwing it into place. Okay, now that's located, and with a 5mm Allen key just tighten them up. Now don't over tighten it. You're screwing into cast aluminium, so don't screw it up too tight, so just a nipper. We're now at stage to fit the silicone hose. Comes out the kit. So silicone hose, it's got a reducer at one end. That end is the bit we're going to fit now. It's going to go in replacement where the original hose went. Again, with the kit, we supply two hose clamps, one larger than the other, so you want the smaller of the two. to go on the smaller part of the hose. I suggest, as you see it, putting the hose clamp, the nut this side of the hose, because it's just easier access to tilt it across. So with that on the hose, not tight, but just enough not to fall off, I'm going to place the hose in position, slide it on like so. Now, for this bit, don't need to tighten it up just yet, because we're going to need to manipulate it into position. We'll leave that till a later stage. So now, we'll be ready to fit our bracket. Brilliant. So we are now going to fit the bracket. This essentially holds the top of the hose and the valve, keeps it nice and square situ in the engine bay. So in order to do that, grab the bracket, and you'll need a 10mm spanner or 10mm socket and drive, either or, perfectly fine. Now, this bracket attaches to the actuator, the factory actuator. So you need to undo the nut, the 10mm nut on the back of the actuator, which is closest to the front of the engine. Okay, there's only two to do, so I'll do that now. So you snap it off. And once you slacken it off, literally, and screw it with your hands again, just be careful you don't drop it into the engine bay. It's easily done. Right, so with the nut removed, the bracket. Now you've got a rounded edge and a square edge, and the bit you want to fit to the actuator is the rounded edge in this sort of profile. So the nut, the thread's going to go through here, and the nut is going to go on the back like so. So just offer the two up. Again, you just do it hand tight, don't torque it right up, because you're going to want to manipulate it to get it all square and true, and then we'll torque everything up. With a bracket now in place, we need to attach the P-clip in the kit to the silicone hose, which then will be bolted to our bracket, so it keeps everything nice and tight and makes it nice and square, looks nice in the engine bay. So here is the P-clip. They are not all the same, so you will have to bend it in place. So you offer that up. So this here goes over the silicone hose, and just line it up with the bracket. So the hole in the bracket there and the holes in the P-clip, you can just offer that up like that. So attach the P-clip to the bracket. We're going to use the shorter M6 bolt, M6 nut and M6 washer, all supplied in the kit. Now first up, just get the shiny side of the washer to the head of the M6 bolt, and that slides through the P-clip first, then through the hole in the bracket. Now then you get the nylon nut and just screw them up again, hand tight to start with, so the thread starts to tape. Right, okay, so we are now going to fit the valve to the silicone hose. So the larger hose clamp, we now need to just slide over the hose. Again, try and get the nut on the same orientation as the P-clip, more for presentation, and it's easier to get at. The valve simply now will slide onto the silicone hose. Now with that in place, you can literally just torque up the hose clamp for the valve and all the other components that we fitted. So that would be the P-clip needs tightening up, the bracket on the actuator can be torqued up, and finally the smaller hose clamp holding the bottom of the silicone hose, that can also be all tightened up. Once you've lined it and happy with where it's located, make sure it's not touching the breather hose up here. That can be all torqued up now. Final stage now, we need to remove the rest of the vacuum hosing. So again, just use your long nose pliers for this one. Slide, clamp up, pull off the hose like so. With this silicone hose provided in the kit, measure it against the OE hose. I suggest about 2 inches extra and cut the hose about there. Now, with the hose cut to length and the 2 cable ties provided in the kit, we're going to replace the existing OE vacuum. So just slide the new hose over that, vacuum there, and then the other end of the vacuum on top of the valve like so. And again, just wrap the cable tie just below the swage line there. So when fitting the cable tie to the solenoid end of the hose, I would go halfway down the vacuum hose, wrap the cable tie around, don't do it all the way up obviously, and slide it down just next to the solenoid and then tighten it up. Once fitted, just cut the ends of the ties off. And that's your valve complete.
Rightio, that's installation complete. Hope it went sweet and that. Hope it was a bit easier than following our online guides. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on our social media to check out new products and just what's generally going on within the company. If you could, please leave comments in the box below, just asking us what you'd like us to do videos of next, really. Your feedback is extremely valuable to us, so yeah, that would be great. See you again soon.